What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite supports in the game, Nova. While Nova can be used as a damage frame, I prefer to just think of her solely as a support frame and use her to fill those particular voids. If you didn't know, I am a support player, and that's why I love Nova. So, what makes Nova so good? Well, to really understand that, you need to know her abilities, starting with Null Star. Null Star, kind of a throwaway. It just surrounds you with a bunch of antimatter particles, so that way whenever enemies get close, they're going to explode on said enemies, doing a little decent amount of damage. But the real main thing about this is it's kind of the last line of defense against, say, a butcher that came sneaking up behind you. Boom, a particle or two explodes on him, and he's dead before he can even hit you. Just a general nice thing to have up if you have the extra energy left over. Antimatter Drop is her damaging ability. As you can see, it has a almost 10 times multiplier on it. And the way it works is you shoot out this little silver ball. Anything that you shoot into the silver ball is going to add into the total damage for when you finally slam it into the ground or push it into an enemy. Once that hits the ground or an enemy, it's going to explode in a 15-meter range, which is a pretty decent range to begin with. One caveat, though, to the damage that you add on from shooting it, it doesn't count crits. So crit weapons like Soma or Amprex aren't going to benefit you. But toss on something like my Sancti Tigris, which has sheet damage of about, 30,000? One shot from that multiplied 10 times kind of starts getting ridiculous, right? Just dunk that shit like Jordan, good to go. Her final two abilities are the ones that really make her support. First, Wormhole sets up like a door with a line coming out of it. Anyone that goes through the door gets teleported to the end of the line. This can be used for moving around maps like interceptions to get from one control point to another that much quicker. Set up another door, and you can bounce around making sure they're all clear and just keep the chain going. It works really well on high-end content like in sorties and that type of thing, when your team's not perfectly set up or the different control points are that much further away. Finally, one extra thing with Wormhole. You can use it to troll hard. Get any map that has something like a pit to fall into and shoot your wormhole right in there, and if one of your teammates gets into it, right off the edge they go. Just kind of a funny little dick move to pull on them. Finally, you have Molecular Prime, and this thing is a beast. So, Molecular Prime has a whole lot of things going on with it that are a little weird. So, in order to break it down, we kind of have to look at the different settings, and they're not, or the different values, but they're not really in order. As you can see, it says power range meters 13. That doesn't sound right. That would be almost useless. Now, the way that this thing actually works is when you cast it, it starts out 5 meters from you. It then will expand by 1 meter every second it's active. It'll expand by 5 meters for every 1 second it's active. So, it starts off at 5, 1 second later it's at 10, 15, 20, you get the point. Well, this thing lasts for 12 seconds, 12.3. So, after 12 seconds, it'll have been 60 meters away. That's a pretty decent range. And what happens when enemies get hit by it? Well, they get slowed, both in attack speed and movement speed, by 75%. This lasts for 61.5 seconds. All these enemies are, quote-unquote, primed. Primed enemies take 200% increased damage from all damage sources, which is pretty fucking ridiculous. That's 3 times as much damage. Well, it's kind of hard to really say. I'm not sure how the game really calculates the 200%, whether it's multiplicative or additive. Anyway, that's still a whole shit ton of damage, even if it was only 100% increase. So, when an enemy dies while being primed, they're also going to explode, doing damage to all enemies around them. This explosion with my current setup is almost 2,000 damage, but the range on it's only about 5 meters. This can set off chain reactions, though, to take out an entire group of enemies just by killing the one guy in the front line coming through. It's a very, very good team build. it synergizes amazingly well with something like Loki. So that way, when all the enemies get in close, not only are they slow as shit, attacking slow as shit, but they're also waving their little fucking flappy dick sticks. Nothing they can do, right? So, how do you build her to do this? Well, it focuses pretty much purely on the damage and on your duration. What you could do, though, is drop off, say, the Blind Rage, and you'll still keep the same amount of slow on there and help your efficiency a whole hell of a lot. So, in all honesty, that might be something I should probably think about doing. But what you don't want to do is raise your range. Instead, you want to focus purely on raising your duration as high as possible. And to that end, I have on Narrow-Minded, Continuity, and Constitution, just to get that crazy duration going on. And then I put on a Transient Fortitude. The reason I put on the Transient Fortitude is, at this point, my range is already so good that I don't really have to worry about any more negative consequences. So I feel safe going with that. Finally, I put on the Intensify for the extra strength and flow, as well as putting on the redirection. For the last spot, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, let's put on a Streamline. Unfortunately, I'm not modded properly. No! So I'm probably going to have to try to reform of something here. But in the grand scheme of things, as you can see, whether you put on the Blind Rage or not, this is still a very effective build. Additionally, with the weapons, like I already said, with your little dunk skill, Sancti Tigris, or anything that does a shit ton of upfront damage, so shotguns, the regular Tigris for that matter, nothing that you have to do like damage over time or things that require crits. Front-loaded damage, Tonkor, Sancti Tigris. If you're really good, fucking shoot out a bunch of pentas, throw out your little fucking disco ball. Well, it's not a disco ball, it's a silver ball. Set off all your pentas, then slam dunk that bitch. That's a little bit above me, I think. And then I'm going to take the Sonicer, just because I always take the Sonicer. And finally, I'm going to take War. Why War? Well, enemies are already going to be taking 200% increased damage, and War's damage is so ridiculous to begin with. I feel better that if an enemy gets in, they're going to die that much quicker. So, yeah, War's the way to go. As far as the second build for Nova, in case anyone's wondering, this is sometimes called the Slova build. The alternative build on Nova is the Fast Nova. And what you do here is you actually go for negative ability power. So instead of increasing your power to make your enemies slow, instead you go negative power to make them run fast. The added benefit is this allows me to have crazy duration and more efficiency, so you can spam it that much more. To the point that flow, in all honesty, not as necessary. Feel free to pop that sucker off. Maybe toss on a little bit of extra survivability. So, how do you do this? Once again, I'm going to go for all that duration and not worry about the range. So, Narrow-Minded, Constitution, and Continuity. Then I'm going to take the Overextended, not for the range, but for the negative power. That's the only reason that's on here. I'm then going to take Redirection for a little bit of survivability. Flow, just to have the higher end amount of casting costs, because this is a 4th level ability. It costs 100. This is going to help out a decent amount with that. Then I'm going to take Corrosive Projection. I always take Corrosive Projection if I don't need the energy. And because this is a team build, a lot of times you'll have an EV Trinity with you. Streamline, again, just for the efficiency help. She casts this pretty quickly, so I don't think something like Natural Talent is necessary, but it is something to think about if you're running into issues casting it. So, let's take a quick look at our abilities. Right now, the slow is negative 30, which is the maximum negative slow you can get. So instead, enemies are actually sped up 30%. And while the explosion damage is now absolute shit, what happens, enemies still take 200% increased damage, which is pretty ridiculous. So, cast this once, enemies start pouring in, and you kill them. When would you want to use this? Well, on a defense mission, for instance, when your team's strong enough to kill anything that's coming in. So on tower defense missions where you're only going to say like wave 20, you bring a fast nova with you, cast that once, they pour in real fast and insta die, so you don't have to worry about them killing your fucking whatever you're protecting, and instead your mission ends that much quicker. Definitely a good thing. More missions, more waves, more rewards. You can also use this in intercept missions where you're just trying to farm up experience. That type of thing. So definitely something to think about as just a weird little off build, and something to know that you can go negative power to increase enemy speed. And they still take stupid amounts of damage. So anyways guys, that's Nova, and until next time, good luck, have fun, peace.